He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
Another week
Of Angry Mortgage. Angry Mortgage is on the air, angrier than ever. Constantly get complaints that we're not angry enough. I mean, like, they really don't want to see us really angry, I don't think. But, you know, it's possible. It can get there.
It can get there.
There's a little bit
we call it going full Butler.
We always go full fucking Butler.
Full fucking Butler.
Yeah, I guess that's
Being
wild.
part of this family for a while, I can go full Butler now.
All right. So there is a lot of news this week. A lot of shit happening. Rates gone nuts.
Yep.
Mortgage rates gone crazy.
Yep.
Gone crazy. It's funny. the sort of the top sales supervisor walks in middle of last Wednesday, and he says, "Hey, we're fucked. The rates have gone nuts. The rates are too high."
He's just figuring this out now.
The rates are too high. Well, it creeps up on you, right? Like, I mean,
does.
it's you know, one day it's 565, and then it's 595, then it's 605, and then all of a sudden one day it's 640 or 45, 665, and you say, "I surrender."
He just paper cut you to death and then go for the jugular.
I just fucking surrender. The rates are too high. I mean, we're laughing, but nobody's laughing. A lot of mortgage
We
brokers.
laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah, a lot of mortgage brokers not laughing.
A lot of realtors not laughing.
Oh, I gotta keep introducing ourselves because nobody can fucking remember who we are from week.
Isn't it on the bottom of the screen? Doesn't the guy put it in there?
I don't think so. Ron Butler, Butler Mortgage, and Natalie Butler, Realtor Extraordinaire. And you were doing some real estate before you got here, right?
I did a couple showings. It's a nightmare out there.
Nightmare?
It just, the clients are like, what should I offer? Yeah, I don't fucking know.
No, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's that tug of war like we discussed last week.
yeah.
The sellers still want their price. The buyers think the sky is falling, which it might very well be. And you don't know
So
where you're going to end up at.
that constant tug of war, that you know, the buyers on one side, the sellers on the other. I think if I was to say historically, it resolves when the word gets out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you when you go to a barbecue, which are going to be held a lot fewer of, it's getting a little cooler. Although next week's going to be nice, apparently.
This weekend is apparently
In
up to
Ontario, nice weather. Yes, exactly. But you go to a barbecue, you go somewhere, you go to a little Thanksgiving's coming. People talk, and finally people talk to each other and say, "You know what? I think real estate's fucked." And then, and then the thought creeps in that, maybe I can't get that big money for my house anymore. It's really strange. People they just need to hear it in a general way. They're not studying anything. They're not studying the Financial Post.
No,
you know?
it's just a general consensus of the civilization. It's just like, oh, everyone says we're fucked now.
They got to hear it. They got to hear it often enough. We're just human, you know. That's it. We have cognitive biases, and if we hear it enough, we probably are true. It's probably true. So yeah, that's going to continue because here's what we know: if the rate is 6.65 for a mortgage, and you have to add 2% stress test to that, that's 865. We're starting to head for 9 territory, okay?
Yeah.
And nobody fucking qualifies. It's unbelievable what you got to
That's
make
the
to qualify.
thing. And you know, you're talking to people. Oh, I can buy between 900 and a million, this and that. Okay, when did you get your pre-approval? 2 years ago.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
You're going to want my husband to look at that, or whomever else you choose, but have someone else to look at that.
Whoever you may choose, but we better take a little look at that.
Yeah, a little gander, because I think you're going to not be pleased with the results.
So why are the rates go nuts? The rates go nuts because of the bond yields. So we've talked about before, we have to be repetitive because it's important that our people listening and people watching understand where do these rates come from? Okay. Yeah. Come from bond yields. So Canada 5s, Canada 3s, Canada 2s, these are the Government of Canada bonds, right? And they have a yield, and that yield changes minute by minute. Like I've sat in front of the screen and watched it move, watched it change right in front of me. So suffice to say, we used to have bond yields that were they had a 3 number in front. And now they all have a 4 number in front. And that has been a big run. It went through in the last, 10 business days. It's gone through a 40-point run, 40 points up, 40 basis points up.
That's a lot.
Close to 0.5%. And the mortgage rates just follow. They just follow because those Canada bonds is where the banks, they use that as a guideline to structure their securitization. So they gather hundreds of millions of dollars worth of mortgages together and turn them into, by the way, I'm oversimplifying like a fucking maniac, but like I don't want to.
Really? Because it sounded quite complex.
It sounded confusing already, right? Yeah, but like for the one bond guy out there, for the 2 capital markets guys that might be listening to this, they're just saying, that fat fuck doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Guys, gals, I'm just trying to simplify for the folks, okay? Like eventually you got to corral all these mortgages into a bond, and the bond's got to be priced off something, and the something is the Government of Canada bonds, okay? Simple as that. That's how it works. So as the Government of Canada bond yields change, and they've only been going up, so do the mortgage rates. They just go up and up and up. All right, so what is driving the bonds up? Decent question. That's in the news. Yeah. What is driving these bond yields up? What is driving this? What's going on? So, first of all, we got the price of oil near $100 a barrel. Okay, so for those of us who don't give a shit about the price of oil, we do know what the price of gas is, and the price of gas is sure as shit gone up. Okay, and that means that when we start to heat our homes in the winter again, that price of that natural gas will be a bit up. And it all trickles down to the point where the bond traders say, if this energy is this fucking expensive, I guess the inflation is going to be around for a long, long time. All right. By the way, doesn't help when the UAW in the United States is on strike for a 50% wage increase over 4 years.
50%?
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, they're actually, there's talk of them settling. Canada settled. The Unifor settled here. 24% over 4 years.
That's a lot.
So that's real money. Now, I don't begrudge that to any of those folks. No, please. I don't. I really and truly don't. I mean, do you want to be an auto worker?
No.
I don't want to assemble those cars. Okay.
I don't know if I could.
I don't think I sure as shit know I couldn't. I wouldn't last. I mean, 1/3 of the shift, they just say, get the fuck out of here. You can't do shit. Okay. Old fat fuck. You can't do anything. So it's not an easy job, but by the same token, it's traditionally been the apex of the manufacturing industry. I mean, your dad was a union guy his whole life.
No.
DeFasco was non-union.
It was not union.
But DeFasco sort of worked off the other unions' settlements, right?
Well, they had profit sharing and all that stuff.
No, but didn't when the other guys struck, that they sort of got the benefit? Like,
I honestly couldn't tell you to be real. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I have cousins that work at Ford. Same thing, they're union, and no, that's hard work.
It's real work, yeah. Anyway, I never care. I might care about how much money the people who work in the motor vehicle department make. I mean, I might question that sometimes, but I'm not. If you just decided not to get a mortgage from us, I don't care. If you motor vehicle people don't, I'm okay. So that's inflation, right? Mm-hmm. When you sign up for 4 years at 6% a year increase, that's inflation. Yep. Simple as that. So that's why that's one of the reasons. There's other reasons. One of the sneaky reasons bond yields are way up?
Why?
Because there's just so many fucking bonds now. I mean, governments run such big deficits. They run huge deficits. The province runs a huge deficit. All the provinces are running deficits. Maybe not Alberta, but maybe yes. But BC's running a much bigger deficit than they ever have. Ontario's deficit is like the size of a fucking elephant. Okay, it's huge. Quebec runs a deficit. Newfoundland almost went broke 3 years ago. They had to go to the Bank of Canada for money because they run such a big deficit.
Wow.
We love you, Newfies, but you did almost go broke. Yeah, that's true. They couldn't find a buyer for their bonds. Like the bonds come due on a certain day, like $20 billion worth of bonds come due, and they say, okay, well, who's buying the bonds today? And they make a couple phone calls, and everybody says, nope, nobody wants it.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Wait a second. That's a problem. They ended up having to go to the Bank of Canada, get bailed out. But anyway, there's so many, and the U.S. deficits. Oh my God, the U.S. has got a deficit, right? Holy mackerel. So if there's just too many bonds that need to get sold, yields go up. It's that simple. Or too many bonds that people are maybe starting to worry about a little bit. Anyway, I don't pretend to be a bond trader, but I do know the yields are high as hell and the rates are high as hell. These are 16-year highs that may eventually get to 25-year highs.
That's insane.
Well, it's insane because we had 12 years where the prices ran wild on 1.99 rates, right? So all low rates, all below 4 for all those years. Basically, mortgage rates were below 4% for about 12 years.
Yeah, that was a decent rate.
That's a high rate. Like if you used to think that like 3.29 was a good rate, 2.99 was a great rate, 3.69 was okay, but always less than 4, right? No longer.
Wow.
No longer. May never see those again. I won't see them again. I'll be dead as hell. Okay? But it's going to be a long, long time before anybody sees them. And that means the real estate market gets clobbered a bit, right?
Yeah. It's tricky out there.
I think we're going to see...
Not even day by day anymore. It's hour by hour.
Hour by hour?
Oh, yeah.
Shit. It is. No, I think we're going to see... You were saying you thought the worst were the condos.
Definitely the condos.
Yeah.
I mean, we've discussed this like in depth last week, but it's the rental market is dead.
But the rents are high.
Rents are high, but no, I mean the purchasing for rental
of rentals.
Of rentals. Sorry, like the investment purchases. They're just nobody's doing it right now. Who could afford it?
By the way, I'll do a mini rant before I do the really serious rant at the end of the show. But like, fuck this landlord and tenant board. Like, fuck all of them. Fuck you all. Fuck you. Like, seriously.
Why?
I mean, they kept doing these TV bits on CTV, and CTV they would have somebody go to the landlord and tenant board on a Monday and trying to get in. It's locked. Okay, like help me. Oh, you're locked. You don't work on Mondays. You all work from home. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's by appointment only now.
Then back on Friday, boom, 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 boom. Let me in. I need help. Nope. We're all fucking shut. Okay.
Wow.
We're shut on Friday. We're shut on Monday, and we're barely working on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay. Wow. Like I hear that is the craziest, worst place on earth.
It's hard. It's
like,
hard.
Tenants hate it.
Well, tenants have more rights than landlords.
But when the landlord rent-evicts them, they just get rent-evicted, right?
It's such a process. Like even if someone can not pay their rent for months upon months upon months, abuse the hell out of your property, and you can try to go through all the proper channels, being the landlord and tenant board. It may be 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, a year before you're seeing any sort of action. By that time, you're almost fucking broke because you didn't have how many months of mortgage payments, and your property's fucked.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I hear that constantly. I hear people say we gotta do Airbnb because the landlord and tenant board's fucked. Okay. Yeah. Like or we leave it empty. Like I give up. Like, there you go. So hey Ford Nation, Rob Ford, listen the fuck up. I mean, like, Why don't you just fix that thing? Well, first of all, why don't you tell them you should work 5 days a week? Go to your office 5 days a fucking week, okay? Help people. Answer the phone.
Time. When
Take action,
You're
okay?
in a customer service industry. I'm sorry. It's time. COVID is not a thing anymore. It's time to go back to the office.
And it's time to put in a full fucking day's work.
You know what? I'm not saying everyone who works from home doesn't work straight the whole time, but yeah, you can see it's a little bit lax.
Make me a little lax.
A little
Okay.
lax.
A little lax sometimes.
Like there's people out there, of course, that just work their balls off. But
Yeah, of course there are. 100% there are.
but
Yes, agreed.
there's the exception, but that's not always the case. It's time. Let's go back to work.
Everybody's got to go back to work. I mean, maybe we'll have Freaky Friday where you can get every Friday off. But for God's sakes, maybe how about this? How about somebody takes the Monday off and you go in on the Friday? Like, why are goddamn government offices where the public should be able to get in closed? Why are they
Because
closed?
It's a
Okay?
resource that the public's entitled to.
No shit.
Yeah.
So Rob Ford, smarten the fuck up. Hire 800 people in that goddamn landlord and tenant board. Get off your ass. I mean, I realize life's good taking the money from the developers, but still, you got to snap to it, guy. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus
The
Christ. I mean,
backlog in a lot of these things is so crazy.
and it's unacceptable. Like, imagine that the landlord and tenant operation in this province was smooth as silk and got everything done in a month. Do you think we'd have this many pissed off landlords who are trying to do every trick of the book to get the tenant out? Or so many people who are saying, I don't even know if I want to be a landlord in my life? Look, it doesn't make sense to run a government organization on permanent fuckery. Okay? It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. So let's stop it. Let's fix the goddamn landlord-tenant operation, please. Okay?
It is pretty crazy.
Son of a bitch. That makes me mad. It really does. So now, more news items. I'll give you a really quick one that's really specific
Okay.
and probably boring as fuck for most people.
Oh,
okay?
God.
Last week, the finance minister, the part-time finance minister, she's also Krista Freeland. She's also the deputy prime minister and chief cheerleader for the Ukraine and everything else.
Okay.
Nobody, don't email me about Ukraine. I support Ukraine. Don't do it. But, well, we should also avoid bringing in Nazis to Parliament too. Like we should likely avoid that as much as possible.
A little
okay?
weird, yeah.
Holy shit! You know, the funniest one
I
was
can't
when-
even start on that. I'm a little bit
it's too wild, right?
flabbergasted by it. Normally we have a pretty good back and forth. I'm like, I don't even want to touch that.
I don't even know what to say
I don't even
now.
wanna
Like, it's
fucking
too
touch
strange.
it.
It's just too strange. Like, seriously, is nobody in the whole Parliament system or the Speaker's office or anybody there,
Like nobody did a background check? That wasn't a thing?
Or how about this? When they announced he heroically fought the Russians in World War II, nobody knew the Russians were our allies in World War II. Like we actually we risked Canadian lives with the Merchant Marine bringing stuff they needed to Russia in World War II. Like we were their ally. Okay.
Wow.
So
I actually didn't know that.
well, it's true. It's true. The Russians lost 35 million people fighting the Nazis
Wow.
in World War II. Okay. So if you're fighting the Russians in Europe in World War II, you're a Nazi, for shit's sakes. Only because it's the only math
Just
that's possible.
I can't even start with it. I can't.
It's the only
I have no witty comments for the subject.
applause for the Nazi. Okay.
No, don't say that. We don't need that soundbite out there. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I didn't do it. The government did it. I'm
Jeez
good.
Louise.
I'm good. I never did it. Government did it. Yeah. Applause for the Nazis in Parliament. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Well,
government.
didn't they find a bunch of cocaine on his plane?
No, that was a lie. No,
that's a lie?
That's a total lie.
I read that the other day.
That's a total lie. That's a total lie. I mean, like there was no cocaine. I know everybody who wants there to be cocaine on Trudeau's plane. Okay, there was no cocaine. I know there's people are losing their minds now. My friends in Brampton are losing their minds. My friends in Slurry are losing their minds. But no, there was none. There was no cocaine in the hotel room in India. There was no cocaine on the plane. No, didn't happen. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I am not nobody.
So I'm getting my news for the wrong source.
possibly
Like
possibly
with those
yeah.
things that pop up on my phone.
There was applause for Nazis in the Canadian Parliament, but there was no cocaine on the plane. Okay, so there you go. All right, so that's the one news item out of the way. But here's something that the finance minister, Krista Freeland, announced. And it's something that's a small thing because people don't understand it. But unfortunately, some people got the wrong idea of what it was. She announced an increase in the Canada mortgage bond from 40 billion to 60 billion, so a $20 billion increase. Okay. Now, this is a measure that goes hand in hand with the announcement the previous weeks that there would be no GST on purpose-built rentals. Okay,
Yes.
that's the end of that. So the reason to increase this $20 billion limit on the bonds was to accommodate more of these purpose-built rentals being built. Because it's just a good thing. Now, as soon as I say that to people, it's a good thing. There's about, I don't know, maybe 30,000 people firing up on their phones saying, "No, you stupid fat bastard, it's all bad. It's not terrible. It's printing money. It's all bad. It's inflationary. It's bad. No, you're stupid. Trudeau bad. Everything bad. Krista Freeland bad. No, it's all bad." Okay, relax. This is what it really is. Okay. The Canada Mortgage Bond is sold only into the commercial space. Okay, so it's the government, the Bank of Canada doesn't buy those bonds. I'm not saying the Bank of Canada never bought a Canadian bond in their lives, but they don't buy this one because the interest rate's slightly higher than the regular government bond. So it's all totally sold into the commercial space. So if it's bought commercially by other free enterprise entities, it's not inflationary, not at all. We're not printing any money. There's no, yes, there is. There's money being printed. No, calm down. No, there's not. I promise you there's not. It's fine. The Canada Mortgage Bond is designed to provide the lowest possible commercial financing for purpose-built rentals. This is not a government subsidy. Everybody please memorize that last one. Not a government subsidy, okay? It's not. It's sold commercially. It's at commercial rates. People will pay that interest. The people who bought it, the pension plans, the banks, whoever else bought it, not the Bank of Canada. They will pay They will pay very good rates, very reasonable to finance, and then that reasonable rate is passed on to the people who want to build apartment buildings and build townhouses for rent. Okay. And that's just good. It's just good.
Very good thing. We need more of these places.
We need that. Okay.
Yes.
We do need that. So for everybody who wants to go out and find a pitchfork and get the torches lit and go out and burn down the Canada Mortgage Bond, it's all fine. It's actually just good. So, and believe me, everybody has heard me raise hell with the government for as long as we've been starting this thing, doing this podcast. Yeah. So when the government actually does something right, I'm going to say that too. Okay. So this is helpful. This is helpful to build. Now, is it going to help immediately? No. Projects take between 2 years and 5 years. Okay.
Probably closer to 5.
Probably closer to 5 because everything to do with getting a permit or an approval or a plan takes eternity. Okay.
Yes.
So that's just the way we are. We'll do a whole goddamn pod on that subject one of these days, but not tonight. Tonight we're just going to say, good move, get those purpose-built rentals built and inexpensively, and it's better for everybody. Good. All right. Now, one of the problems with high rates, high mortgage rates, we talked about it last week.
There's a lot of problems with that.
A lot of problems with it, but one of the real problems is builders can't build.
No.
Now, everybody wonders about that.
It's not just expensive for your general consumer. It's expensive for everyone.
Expensive for everyone. That's exactly right. So if you, like, we're getting calls from builders now. We're getting calls from people who are saying, yeah, I need this much of a mortgage. I just got to find a way to get going again. And I have to tell some of these folks, you're not getting any mortgage. There's no mortgage to get.
Not even the private.
No, nothing. You can't get. Okay. Because here's what happens. Small builder, like there's 5 billionaire families in this province of Ontario. I think there's probably like 3 or 4 billionaire families in BC too.
Yeah.
That they are rich AF.
Yeah.
And
they can wait it out.
They can just stop. They can just stop.
They're good. But they'll be okay.
Small builder, you can get in trouble.
No, of course. If that's your livelihood, my goodness. And that's what we've talked about before. It's just that's who's getting hit the hardest is the smaller.
And we're getting the calls. Like they're getting, we say, look, we can't get you any financing because you got these, like I look at the pictures of these lots and they just got like the
tumbleweed going through it.
Well, a tumbleweed and they got the pipe sticking up of the power and the gas that is capped, right?
Oh, so at least it's serviced.
It's serviced. It's fully serviced. Okay. But you got no fucking money to build shit, okay? Yeah. Like you don't have a penny left, all right? Wow. What happens is this. In the run-up of construction material costs and trades over COVID, they had to take on extra financing to get finished. Mm-hmm. So now there's too much financing on the raw serviced lots. So there's too much financing on it. You can't, because they had to take extra money out of those unserviced lots to finish the lots, to finish the buildings they'd sold, finish the houses they've sold, because they had to make good in their contracts to individuals who needed those houses. And now those service lots are all over-financed, okay?
Steal from Peter to pay Paul.
That's what they did. Wow. You're 100% right. Mm-hmm. And those places aren't good. But by the way, there is going to be... We had a builder go broke in Ontario. There's a builder go broke in... Big developer went... maybe not big. Medium-sized developer went broke in Vancouver earlier in the year. We had in the early summer, we had a housing developer in Woodbridge go broke. The beginning of this year. And now it looks like we are about to have a even slightly smaller developer, again, Vaughan developer. Looks like they're going to go broke next week. Okay. Ooh. So I tell you, people like to say, well, we're going to straighten out the Canadian housing market, but there's a lot of casualties in between.
Yeah. You're going to be walking over the bodies.
A lot of people getting their shit kicked out of them while we're in the process.
And it's sad, just like the story from last week with the 11 condos. And I knew it. I knew I was going to get crucified in the comments. Of course, the realtor says, well, maybe he isn't a greedy fuck.
Yeah, we got a lot of greedy fuck comments on that thing for sure. We did.
Just trying to play devil's advocate. But that's what I mean. Like in what's happening is you're going to be stepping over bodies. And that's
you just are. I mean, everybody, there's two sides to this whole event. There's the people who, there's 42% of all Canadians' homes don't have a mortgage. Okay. Yeah. All Canadian properties don't have a mortgage. And they don't give a shit, right?
No, they're
mortgage
fine.
Rates, okay. So, now, maybe not so fine when the values of their properties start to drop a little, but still, they have no mortgage. They don't really care.
Yeah, but when did they buy these properties? They're still in a profit zone.
They will be.
They're just not in the astronomical profit zone.
That's correct. So, what else? There's people who don't have mortgages, and there's people who still have 1.79 for 2.5 more years.
Yeah.
They're fine. All good. Okay. And so what ends up, and there's people who desperately want to buy a home, and that's the people we should be thinking hardest about, because it's the young people in this country.
It is. Okay. It's usually the first-time home buyers.
Absolutely. And they're saying, the prices are still too high, and the rates are nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm out. I can't do anything.
And what's the first-time home buyers incentive? What does that entail? What do you get? That's just a break on the land transfer?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different little breaks. There's the RSP benefit.
That's right.
First-time home buyer, and there's the new benefit that lets you set aside money in excess of your RSP. Okay. So there's a bunch of incentive programs,
but it's just not cutting it these days.
The goddamn prices are still too high, and the prices are still batshit crazy. Not as batshit crazy as in 2021, but
but that was insanity. That was irresponsible.
But house prices are still batshit crazy, and the rates are high as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not good.
I had a good talk with one of our people here, one of our key people in the office the other day. A young person just talking about his friends and family who are also young in their 30s. And he says, no, we just feel like we've been totally shit on.
Yeah.
Why is it that it's us who can't buy a home? Like what my parents could buy a home. They could buy a house.
Yeah.
Like, why is it all of a sudden I can't buy one? And I want to have a kid. He has a kid. Okay. I have a child. I have a little baby now. I don't want to live in my condo for eternity.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've just been...
And it's unfortunately, those are the people that are still driving the market, buying out of necessity. That's what's going to drive the market. That's why it's not at a dead halt.
Well, you gave a great example about the showings you were doing now You were telling me that you're working with 3 buyers now who are all divorced? Getting divorced?
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, because guess what?
That's
three at once.
3.
I mean, geez.
It's actually quite odd. And it's just, COVID was a son of a bitch, I guess.
Listen,
I don't know. I'm not going to go into personal stories, but three different people with very similar stories. That's all I'll say about the situation.
Okay, sure.
But that's what it is, buying out of necessity.
Yeah, we've always talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
You might think, well, you can just wait it out, but sometimes you can't wait it out.
No, and you can't. And when you look at the rent prices, they're like, well, fuck, I might as well buy it. Like, if I can qualify and buy something,
rents are crazy.
because the rents are ridiculous. So it's not like you're going to be able to rent and save money. You're paying similar to what the mortgage payment would be. So might as well.
Yeah, but never forget that, folks. It's there's death, there's divorce, and there's change of job, and sometimes people just have to buy or sell.
Yeah.
That's it. It has to happen. Okay. That's why real estate never dies. Like there's never a day there's no listings. They're never going to happen. Okay?
It's been slow.
Sure, of course. But I mean, I'm just saying that.
But it'll never be dead. There's always going to be a reason why somebody needs to buy or sell.
Exactly. And that means that if you are caught in this rate vice we're in right now, mortgage rate vice, you're not feeling very good about it.
Yeah.
Not at all. All right. So we've talked about some of these little odd cases that we're up against. I put up a post this morning, and I've been looking at all kinds of articles about the prediction of the future of these rates. Like, what is going to happen? When are these rates finally going to come down?
Know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's true. How can you know? I mean, like, we thought in the summer that inflation was kind of getting under control. We had some ideas that it might be. Price of oil came down. Price of gas came down. Things weren't getting better. Boom, they weren't getting better anymore. Rates go through the roof. Okay, and it's becoming almost impossible to predict this thing. Okay, like, people were saying there'd be a recession. Like, things aren't great. Things out there aren't great. That's for sure. But
maybe after living through a pandemic and whatnot, we don't really understand what bad is anymore.
I don't know.
Maybe we have a high tolerance. 18
months of really consistently increasing rates. And yet, unemployment hasn't gone crazy. No. It has not. And so the true hardcore, big economic flatness, big economic reductions in the GDP, no, we haven't seen it. And we haven't seen high unemployment. I know, there's all kinds of signs that things are shit. Okay, like food banks have never been busier. They are they're unbelievably busy in the big cities in Canada.
Yeah.
We hear people talking about, we see it. I see more people studying those, almost expired vegetables in the grocery store than I've ever seen before in my life. I mean, that's actually the hot seller now, is the expired fruit, for Christ's sake.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, it's just true, though. I mean, like, there's lots of signs that things aren't going so great.
Yeah.
Okay. But not statistically. Statistically, things are not a disaster. And how do you predict? Because here's what we know. Interest rates come down when central banks are raising rates. It should harm the economy. There should be a recession. There should be unemployment. There should be obvious signs of great economic trauma, at which point inflation dies. It just dies. Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to get back to 2%. By the way, there was a lot of years between 2008 and now when inflation was less than 2% a year. We had some 1.7s, 1.8s. Okay, really no inflation. But for inflation to truly die, and we get down to like 2.25%, 2.5%, and the Bank of Canada could start cutting rates, there's no obvious point where that's happening right now.
We're all just hanging on.
Hanging on, going up. Okay, so prediction. Prediction is a crap business, particularly right now in mortgage rates. Okay. I ain't predicting shit, except someday
it will come down.
It will come down. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know when. And when people are telling you they do know when, they're full of shit. Okay. Like I go back to my story from last week about variable rates. Okay. Don't bet on variable rates. It's a casino. All right. Don't listen to somebody who says rates are coming down. Oh yeah, variable rates coming down. Nothing to worry
don't bet
about.
on variable right now.
Not right now.
No.
Hell no. And yet we see it. I see it. I see people talking about it. I see other mortgage brokers talking about it. I see people suggesting, well, if rates come down in the year, I'll show you the math about how you're better off with variable. Fuck you. I mean, seriously, why don't you just take 50,000 at the casino and put it on red? Okay, don't do it. Now, I'm also seeing, unfortunately, people preaching the idea, whether people in your business, in real estate, or in my business, hand in hand, talking about, well, the rate cuts are right around the corner. Yeah, don't fucking say that. Okay, that is not right. People sometimes correctly point out there's still a ton of immigration. Oh, by the way, they miscounted by 150,000. They decided this week. They just
again.
Oh yeah,
this is another.
We just give up on the counting side of this thing.
Wow.
Okay, just call it a day. We're not counting. We don't know how to count in Canada. That's for sure. We applaud Nazis and can't count. Okay, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
but they're out about 120,000, so it's a little lower, but it's a huge number. It's like 1,050,000. Okay, big numbers. And the reality is, nobody knows whether that's really going to underwrite all of these. People say, well, we're so many new Canadians, housing starts are down, which they are. So many new Canadians. Those prices are going to come roaring back. I don't know they're going to come roaring back.
Not if you can't qualify for them.
They're not roaring.
And that's the tug of war.
That's it. And we are facing it in broad daylight that we talk to people who can't buy. They just can't buy. They can't get the mortgage to make it work.
Yeah.
And if that's true, and it is, then prices probably come down. But when do these rates break? When is the boom times in real estate again? When are people going to have affordable renewals? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someday, sometime, they will come down. It is a cycle. If things go way up on the roller coaster,
must come down.
They'll come down again. But will it be 2024, 2025? I don't know. I'm going to shut up on the guessing because I just don't know. Okay. I have no idea. What do I say to people who are renewing? Because that's going to continue to grow, and that's happening right now. Said it many times in the show. Talk to your bank. You got a renewal, hard to manage. Talk to your bank about extended amortization.
To make it manageable, so you can do the payment.
To try to make it work, to try to make it livable. And, they may put you through a bit of an exercise of show us why you can't afford it. But, hey.
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do and be firm. Like, talked to a guy last week, give him a bit of a runaround, but finally he got an answer. He didn't like the answer. In the end, he was not fond of the answer, but they agreed they would extend amortization. He just didn't help his payment as much as he wished it had. That's all. But you must ask. If you get in a jam, you got to ask. Okay? I got to admit, I get more calls. I end up taking some calls, and it's amazing what people are doing to get by. Like one woman had her mom move in with her from North Bay. Okay, now mom was, in the retirement home, and mom was fine with it, but mom was happy to move in. But by mom moving in, they pick up a piece of that pension check, right? And even though it's getting a little crowded in the house, they can get by. They can survive.
A little bit of not residual income, but a little bit of extra.
That's $965 a month.
Yeah. Well, and we've had the whole Airbnb rant, but that's sometimes just people getting by.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But if we fix the landlord tenant, anyway, we beat the shit out of that horse.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, these are the things we must do if you need to do something, do it. Don't just wait for it to get worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Canadians are creative. On their own, they can be very creative. They can dig down. They can do stuff to make that payment work. And again, someday it'll be better. But don't listen to the ones who are saying it's just around the corner. Buy now. Okay?
It's not.
Yeah, it is. Buy now because very shortly it's going to be a much better deal. I don't think it's going to be a much better deal. No. Not next week. Not going to go soaring up next year. Okay. but it's pretty damn tough at 9%. I mean, if you're qualifying at 9%, that's tough. All right, that takes us to our absolutely favorite part of the show.
What the actual fuck?
And what the actual fuck is going on with stress tests on mortgage renewal? Now, I've been talking about this basically for years, but now it's reached a point where it's just fucking crazy. So let's think about it for a second.
So they're going back and requalifying on a renewal.
Yeah, let's
and
break it down.
requalifying through the stress test.
Absolutely.
I thought you didn't have to do that on
No,
a renewal.
no, you do. Let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you. Okay. Because you're shocked too because it's so fucking stupid, right? Like
It is because I thought the honest to goodness, you get your mortgage.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm clear on this. If it's your own lender, if you're like folks, let me make this really, really clear right now.
Yeah.
If you stay with your own lender, when you're with the bank Z and you get a renewal notice in, and you will,
sign it.
You always will, and you sign it, you're not stress tested.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Okay, so I'm not absolutely insane. I thought I had to cut up my mortgage license rate then and there because I was like, what?
No, okay, let me get really clear on this because we get questions on this all the time. When you get every single person in Canada who's up to date will get a mortgage renewal.
Yeah.
It will come. Okay. As long as you haven't, as long as you're not behind in your payments.
You're not in default.
You paid your property tax. You got insurance on your house. You're going to get a renewal.
But if you want to rate shop.
Well, let me make it just as clear as possible.
Okay.
If you want to shop for a better deal, you are fucked. Okay. Like there is, how are you going to shop? Okay. Then we got to add the 2% for the stress test. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we got to add it. Now, I'm going to break that down. So you get your renewal in, you got a bunch of offers on the table. Maybe you think the best deal I can get here is like 6.8. 6.8 for a 3-year, maybe 6.7 for a 5-year. Maybe I've seen some really shit rate. The guy wrote in on social media the other day. Oh, no, sir. It's 705 for a 3-year fix from my bank.
Where did you go?
Woo! Shit, that's high. Okay, but here's the problem. That comes in. You got your renewal sitting in front of you. If you accept, sure, you can phone, negotiate, bitch, whine, and moan. But is it possible? Wait a second. Is it possible the bank knows with the stress test you can't go anywhere else? They looking at that, oh, best rate on this thing is 6.8. The stress test is 8.8. He wouldn't even qualify. She wouldn't even qualify for renewal if we had to do it. But we don't have to do it on renewal. So they can't
taking
shop.
advantage a little bit.
I'm not saying that, look, I don't want to say they are. I really don't, because I've never been a bank basher in my life. I mean, sure, they do some things that I don't agree with, but by and large, Canada's well served by their banks. But I'm not saying that they're angels, okay? I'm not saying that if they know that nobody can shop, because with a stress test, maybe not, I shouldn't say nobody, could be some, somebody with a $50,000 mortgage. I guess you could probably shop that, except nobody wants to trade your nobody wants to bother switching your $50,000 mortgage. Yeah. But let's talk about the people who need help, who need to shop, who've got a big mortgage, who want to get the best possible deal, even if to save 0.25% is important. Yeah. Okay. How can they do it? Because maybe they're making about the same amount of money they did 3 years ago. And if they took a 3-year fix 3 years ago, we're here. If they took a 5-year, they may be making a bit more money, but we basically know Canadian wages are stagnant. So they probably aren't making a ton more money. So how their last mortgage was 3.89. Now it's 6.8.
That's huge.
They want to shop. So they go to somebody like Butler Mortgage. They go to Rate Hub. They go to True North. They go to anybody. Just don't go to those Nesto fuckers, okay? Don't go to fucking Nesto, okay?
Hold on.
Yeah, don't go to Nesto.
Well.
That Pine guy. Screw that Pine guy, okay?
Oh,
but
here
anyway,
come the letters.
But I'm allowed to say don't go, okay? I didn't say they were evildoers. Did I? Anyway, listen, don't go. You go to whoever's got the best deal. But who advertises the best rates, but if you want to shop and you go to shop and you contact somebody who clearly has a better rate, it could even just be another bank, clearly have a better rate, submit your application, and they call back and say, hey, you know what? You can't qualify because we have to qualify you at 6.4 plus 2%, 8.4, and you just don't qualify at 8.4 because nobody's had an 8.4 mortgage in 26 years, okay? Like, it hasn't happened for 26 fucking years. Has there been anything like 8%? Now, this is the really, really, really important thing, folks. You're not looking for 1 cent of extra money. Not a penny. If your mortgage balance is 504, 362.80, that's all we transfer. That's it. That's all we, it's all we do. We don't do a nickel's more than what your mortgage is. There's no increase. We're not refinancing you and giving you money. You're not buying a house. You are you are in the house. All we're asking is that we get you a little bit better deal on your renewal rate.
Yeah.
Okay? Why the fuck is there a stress test on that?
So,
all right?
Yeah, because one institution has already said, yep.
No stress test.
Here you go. No stress test. Here's your rate. Now you find a cheaper rate, which would mean cheaper payments, but now you don't qualify for it. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
But that's what we
To
fucking
spend
got.
less
Hello,
money.
OSFI. Hello, Office of Superintendent of Financial Solutions. Hello, Peter Rutledge. Okay. I know you've been breaking your arm, patting yourself on the back about the stress test. You had the stress test, saved the world. And thank you. Thank you for doing it. Smart
Of
move.
course on purchases.
Very supportive.
100%.
And very supportive still to this day on purchases, refinance. No problem. On renewals, it's fucking stupid. Don't try to make up some bullshit story that you think, oh, no, I think it's protected. No, it doesn't protect shit. It doesn't protect anyone. It traps people. It traps people because if you are just moving dollar for dollar, penny for penny, exactly the same mortgage you have to a new lender to get a little bit better rate, doesn't need a stress test, okay?
You already qualify.
You can
good.
just sign here and get it with that bank, except if that bank knows you can't go anywhere else, they're going to be a little bit more likely to be a little higher on the rate.
Yeah.
Which is no fucking good for consumers, no good for borrowers, no good for Canadians, okay?
No.
It's not any sense. If you let one bank, that bank, your existing bank doesn't have to apply any stress tests. They don't even have to do any underwriting. By the way, listen very carefully, folks. The other bank who offers the lower payment and lower rate still fully underwrites the mortgage, checks your income, checks your credit, not giving anything away. If you could just only qualify at the contract rate, that's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Be fully underwritten, check the income, make sure it works, check the credit, make sure everything's good, check the debts, check everything, check the debt ratios. Everything's got to work. This is not a giveaway, okay? That's all. That's all we're asking. Fully underwritten, just don't put the stress test on. Because the stress test is fucking the consumer unnecessarily. There's nothing, nobody is helped by this. Like, the Canada's not helped. That poor guy can't get a better rate. He's stuck with his bank. The gal who wants just to get a little bit of reduction, no, you can't have it. You don't qualify anywhere because you got to qualify at 8.6, okay? There hasn't been an 8.6 mortgage rate in this country for 25 years, okay?
It is wild.
Makes no sense, okay? So, Peter Rutledge, Superintendent, Office of Superintendent of Financial Institutions, OSFI. Listen up, okay? Hey, Krista Freeland, wake up. Wake up. I know you're still hiding under a bed because you were applauding Nazis, okay? But wake up. All you people, wake up. Government, wake up. Canadians, with their mortgages renewing, need a little break.
Yeah.
And that little break has to be no stress test on renewals. If there's no increase in the mortgage, just want to get a better deal, just time for renewal, let people get a better deal.
Yeah.
Okay, all you guys, quit saluting. Wake up.
It's great.
Wake up. No stress test on renewals. I'm gonna get a t-shirt made up for that. All right, we're out.